sorry, just a heads up, this is probably going to be a chatty intro, so I will put timestamps in the description box, possibly on the screen, so you can skip forward to whatever part you want to see, but this will be a first impressions. I'm just very, very excited, so anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Hey beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am so excited because I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the new PUR Cosmetics 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Longwear Foundation and Concealer. So what I plan to do for this video is I'm going to do a demo. I want to share my first impressions. I want to tell you about the claims in case you're curious about the claims. I want to wait to get to the claims and stuff until after I do the demo and see what I think and have developed my first impressions before reading the claims, just to see what I think before having something ingrained in my mind of what it's supposed to be. So that's how we're going to kind of do it. But anyways, before I get into that, I just want to talk for a brief moment about why I'm so excited about this. Because I literally just mentioned in one of my recent videos the brands that excite me tag that I did back on May 9th is when I uploaded it. I talked about in that video about how I wanted to try this foundation, and I actually literally still have it in my cart, how I was thinking about purchasing it, but I really was on the fence because I was trying not to buy more foundations for myself. Anyways, so I had filmed that video towards the end of April. So I had already filmed that, had already said all those things prior to anything that I'm going to talk about now. So before knowing anything, nothing. I had already had the video edited and ready to upload, and the 7th, 2 days before that video was uploaded, I was actually contacted by PUR Cosmetics about receiving the PR for this foundation. So it made me so excited, and two, it was also really exciting that it was even before this video went live. So it was before I even had mentioned, so it's not like they saw my video and was like, oh, we should send it to her or anything. I'm not really sure how I got on the radar, except for the fact that I do use a lot of the products constantly, and I'm constantly tagging them on Instagram, and it has been a brand that I had hoped would take notice of me because I use so much of their products so often, and I feel like I'm always tagging them, and I just would hope that maybe they would one day notice me. And I had thought it would be really amazing to be on their PR list, to be able to try more of their products, since I do really love a lot of their products. But I don't reach out to brands about that kind of stuff, and because I don't need more makeup, I just find it, I don't find the desire to reach out to brands for free makeup or anything like that. If they find me, great, but I'm not gonna go like asking for it because I really don't need it. Anyway, so point being is that I just am so excited that they had reached out to me about sending me the PR package for this foundation. Now, I don't know if I will be put on their PR list officially and receive other products in the future, or if this was just a one-time thing, so I really don't know, but I did want to let you guys know that I did receive this in PR, and I am so beyond excited and very, very thankful to receive it. So let me show you real quick the package. It looks like this, and I have to hand it to PUR Cosmetics, and big thank you to them if they see this video. I really appreciate this so much because, as you guys may know, this is a foundation they released in 100 shades, and I have said before how when I receive new foundations from brands in PR to try, oftentimes I'm sent the entire range, or you know, a majority of the range full size, and it's while I'm very thankful for that, and I do feel very blessed because I get to choose and make sure I can find my right shade, I'm often left with all of these extra full-size products that I don't need, and that I need to figure out what to do with, either give away, donate, things like that. And so it's often overwhelming and just too much, and like I said, while I'm thankful, I do have wished that brands would start being smarter about the way they send PR, especially foundations. Other things like, you know, a full collection of eyeliners or something like that, I don't mind because I could probably use them, but I can't use every single shade of a foundation, you know what I mean? So it's overwhelming. So I really appreciate what they did here. So they did send me 3 full sizes of what I assumed that they thought might be shades that would be good for me, and then little samples of other shades, you know, kind of within that realm so I can try. And I think that's so smart. I so appreciate that, and it's not overwhelming. I think this is such a cool idea. And even more cool, one of the shades they sent me was actually the shade that I have in my ULTA cart right now that I was gonna purchase for myself. So it's kind of cool that they kind of gauged that that might be my shade, and the shade is MG7, so that's the one I'm going to be trying today. And then on the case that maybe that doesn't match me, I do have a few others to try. And then they also did send me the brush that's supposed to be used with this foundation. This is the Beholder Dual Action Complexion Applicator. And so I'm going to open it up, but apparently it has a silicone applicator. So it says it's cruelty-free bristles, durable custom cut bristles for a smooth, even finish, and it has a silicone core, which I'll show you guys up close. Perfect degree of firmness to distribute and blend products. So I think that's really, really neat. But I am gonna go ahead and try it like one side with the brush and then one side with a makeup sponge, so we can kind of see how everything, you know, applies. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna be using the shade MG7, which stands for Medium Golden 7. And I believe this is probably the darkest golden shade of the medium. I could be totally wrong, actually. Okay, no, I had to double check just to be sure. Yeah, so they do have light, medium, tan, dark, and then deep. And I believe within each shade like range of that, they have golden, neutral, or pink for undertones. And so each one has like, there's MG6, MP6, MN6 for medium, neutral 6, and then, you know, there's M golden 7, and then M neutral 7, and so on like that. So yeah, that is the darkest of the medium shades and of the golden medium shades. So that's kind of how it goes. So hopefully this is a match for me. Like I said, this is a shade that I thought would be a match for me. And for those who don't know, it is a pump as well. It is, because it's a concealer and a foundation in one. The top comes off with a doe foot applicator for you to use as a concealer as well. Now, because I know myself and I often use too much foundation when I'm trying it out, and that can often be a downfall for me, I'm going to start very, very slow. I'm just going to do one pump, and I might like dot it on and go from there and see how this goes. Now, I didn't mention this, but I don't have any primer on today because I wanted to just test this foundation on its own without any help. My face is moisturized, and I think today will be a really great day to try this foundation because I do have a few red friends along my jawline and chin area, so we'll see how well this will cover everything. Alright, so this brush is really interesting. I don't know if I really like it just on first impressions. It might be something I just need to get used to. I'll definitely keep using it a few more times just to kind of see what I think, but it's pretty stiff. It's weird because it's like the bristles, if I touch it with my fingers, feel very soft, but when I put it up to my skin to blend it in, it feels very, very firm and not as soft. And also there's, maybe it's something about that silicone kind of stopper thing in the middle that's making it feel a little bit stiffer than is necessary, maybe. I don't know, it just feels really weird. It's definitely a unique design, so obviously it's not something I would be used to, but I think it applied this foundation really well, and I think the foundation is a pretty good match on me. It looks like skin. Looking up close at it, I'm like, it looks very, very natural. My goodness, I'm very, very pleased with that. So I wouldn't say it's full coverage. Now, I don't know if it claims to be full coverage or not, but I definitely still see some of my blemishes and redness showing through, but it did cover them decently, and I'm sure I can try to build it up and see if it builds up upon itself. But you guys know me, I've said this all the time, but if you're new here, let me tell you again, I don't really mind if my blemishes and things like that show through. I much prefer a foundation to look more natural and more skin-like than I am concerned about it being full coverage and covering up blemishes, because blemishes don't bother me. But I think the coverage is very, very nice, and I really am loving how skin-like it truly looks. I'm kind of in awe about that. I'm not going to go over and try to do a second layer of those blemishes just yet, because when I use it as a concealer, I'll do it for that. Anyways, I do want to go ahead and do the other side of my face now, and I'm going to use a sponge for that side. And just so you guys can see, I do have quite a bit of the foundation left on my hand from the one pump. So that was like literally maybe half a pump or less that I used on this side of my face. I used just a very, very little. So I'm sure if I put a little bit more, maybe I would have gotten a little bit more coverage. But you know, we'll see. I wanted to start out small so I wasn't caking anything on. So I'm going to go ahead and dot some more onto this side of my face and then go in with a sponge. The sponge I'm going to be using is from Beauty Junkies. Alright, so looking at the makeup sponge side, It looks about the same. I think application wise it looks just as good. I don't think it sheared it out more than say the brush side did. I think it applied it really beautiful. It still looks just like my skin, and I'm touching it, it feels very like it's dried down on both sides. I would say if there's any kind of difference, oddly enough the sponge side gives the illusion of like looking almost a little bit more dewy, but not like crazy dewy or anything like that. I would say it just looks a little bit more natural on the sponge side, but both sides look really good, and I'm really happy with the way this looks, and I do think this is a fairly decent match for my skin. So anyways, with that, now that I've got it on my face, oh actually let me show you guys how it looks up close, and then we'll move on to using this as concealer. So up close, like I don't know how you guys will see it, but it looks almost like I'm not wearing any makeup at all. And you kind of tell that in the way that you can see some of my blemishes and imperfections showing through, but at the same time I think from afar it looks like my skin definitely looks a lot more even and a lot more quote-unquote perfected in a way, but not makeup-y at all. Up close you can see, you know, more of my imperfections and blemishes and things like that, and that's totally fine with me as long as up close you're not seeing it look like cakey makeup-y mess. And so I really am very happy with the way this looks from up close as well as from afar. So anyways, let's go ahead and continue on with using this as a concealer now and adding a little bit more product where I feel like it might be needed, and just see how it builds up. Or I will say, it's not that I feel like it's needed more here, but other people might, you know, feel like the need to cover up more blemishes. I don't really care. I'd be happy with it like this, but I do want to see how well it builds up, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with the makeup sponge for using it as a concealer. Alright, so here's how it's looking after it built up on itself. I feel like it built up really well. I still do see a little bit of redness showing through, and I kind of wonder if I would have put on more in the first place, if that would have been a little bit better, because I was trying to, you know, kind of go on the safe side, not apply too much product. But anyways, it does build up well on itself, but I would say this is a good medium coverage foundation. But if you look at my eyes, like I did a little bit of this foundation on my eyes when I first applied it, but for the second time I purposely just did the under part of my eyes for where my, you know, dark circles are the worst. But you can still see a difference from the top of my eyelids where there is a lot of darkness there still, how well this actually does cover my dark circles. It looks really good, and even with the second layer that I applied, everything still looks like skin. Like I'm kind of just looking over at it and it still all looks like skin. There's no part that looks makeup-y, nothing that looks too dry, and I do have dry skin. Sorry I didn't mention that earlier, but I do have, you know, dry skin. Oftentimes it's combination or can be a little bit normal, but I do lean dry more than anything. So nothing looks dry, nothing looks flaky, nothing's clinging anywhere. I'm really impressed with this foundation. I really like the way it looked. One thing that I did notice on the second application for building it up is that it seemed to dry a little bit quicker the second time around. I'm not sure if it was because it was already on top of the foundation that was dry, and so it started drying a little bit quicker compared to just being straight onto my skin, and the warmth of it kept it I don't know, more emollient, more like longer, but I felt like it did dry a little bit quicker on top of the foundation for the second layer. So I don't know, it still blended in fine. I didn't have any issues blending anything in, but I did notice that. So I don't know if that would be a thing that would be worth mentioning, but I figured I'd mention it. I feel like for the rest of my face, I think it would be fine if you didn't set this, but I am getting just the slightest amount of creasing right here closest to my lash line. Nowhere else, like nowhere down here I'm not getting any creasing, but just right here where I do have the most noticeable fine lines, and that's totally normal, but it's nothing bad. It's nothing super creasy or obvious like I have seen other foundations or even concealers do there. So overall, first impressions, I I'm really, really happy with this foundation. And no, I'm not just saying it because I received it in PR. I don't kiss anybody's behind, no brands behind. Whether I receive it for free or not, I'm always going to give you guys the honest truth and let you guys know my honest opinions. And so that's not going to sway me one way or the other. But truly, first impressions of this, I'm really really happy. This might become a new favorite, but obviously this is first impressions. I don't know how well it wears. I don't know how well it plays with the products, so I will have to keep using this and update you guys in a future video, like a beauty rewind video, which is a series that I do on my channel, updating about the new products I've used after a month's time of use. So, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply the rest of my face, and I'm just going to speed right through that. What I'm going to be doing is just using some products from my makeup basket for the month. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that in the cards. You guys can check out all the products that are in my makeup basket, but I'm just going to kind of speed through that so you guys can at least kind of see what the products look like as they're being applied, but it hopefully won't take up too much of this video. And then we'll come back and I'll read the claims and I'll share any more thoughts that I might have. Alright, I'm back and I'm going to be showing you guys an up-close look at my skin with the rest of the products on my face here with my studio lights as well as in natural lighting, just so you guys can hopefully gauge and see everything that I'm seeing as best as we can, and you're not just seeing, you know, studio lights. Just so you guys know, if you're new here, I don't use any filters on my camera. I don't really know how to do that. I don't know how to edit to make my skin look better, so what you're seeing is as best to reality as I can show you guys. I'm showing you guys up close details of my face, so hopefully you can see everything that I see. Nothing to hide here, nothing to be ashamed of. So anyways, I again have nothing but good things to say after applying the rest of my face. Now you notice I don't have my eyes or eyebrows done because I'm going to be saving that for another video. But anyways, I think everything applied really well over top of this foundation. I didn't have any issues with sticking or patchiness or just any issues with other products being used over top of this foundation. I feel like honestly my skin and my makeup looks the best that it has in a long time. Not to say I feel like my makeup looks bad, but I just feel like, wow, it looks really, really good, and I'm so impressed with this foundation, the way my skin looks. Now again, for those who prefer a full coverage foundation, I don't know if you will like this foundation as much because I'm not experiencing full coverage or anything like that, but I'm experiencing good coverage. I like the coverage that it's giving me. I like that my skin looks like skin. I like that nothing looks cakey. I like how smooth and even out my skin looks in general. I like how my skin feels. It feels like skin when I touch my face. I'm not feeling like there's any residue or anything like that. And while I wouldn't say this foundation is a dewy foundation, I also don't think it's a very matte foundation either. It's just a very natural foundation. Now I haven't read the claims, so I don't know what it claims to be, if it's, you know, what it is actually supposed to be, but for me all I can think of is natural. It's not dewy, but it does give my skin a look of natural freshness and almost a little bit of a luminosity. I don't know if you guys noticed that when I first put it on, but it does give a little bit of a dewy look to it, but it dries down matte to where, you know, you can't feel anything on your skin like you would with maybe a more dewy foundation that kind of still sits on the skin feeling wet. But it's not matte in the sense that it feels super dry or anything. It just feels and looks really natural and really beautiful, I think. I don't know. I don't know have any other words except for I'm just really happy with it. I love the way it looks. It looks and feels very natural and great on the skin, so I'm really happy with how it looks. I'm happy with the coverage considering how lightweight it feels on the skin. So I'm really excited about this foundation, honestly, and I can't wait to like actually dive into what the claims are of this foundation so we can really go into detail there. I just want to mention real quick though, I did take a flash test as well, and I think everything looks good. I'll put the flash test on the screen. I actually didn't do that on camera because I wanted to do it in my hallway where it was a lot darker. I feel like flash tests, like if you're doing it in daylight and you have a flash test, I don't know if that's as accurate as if, you know, a flash test where you would actually be using flash in the dark. So I wanted to do it more in a dark area so that you can really see, and I feel like there really was no flashback If anything looks a little bit lighter, it is a little bit more in my under my eyes and T-zone where I do put a little bit more of a lighter powder, but I think it looks really, really great. So I'd say that there's no flashback. So anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the claims of this foundation. I just pulled up the PUR Cosmetics website, and I'm just gonna straight up read what they have to say about this foundation. All right, so this is a $36 foundation. I know it's available on the PUR Cosmetics website as well as ULTA. You are getting a 1 ounce, 30 milliliters, and here's what it says. It's time to love your skin, your selfie, and the way you look from every angle with 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation. This groundbreaking all-in-one skincare-infused Longwear Foundation and Concealer instantly masks and blurs the look of imperfections as it helps enhance your natural beauty. Enriched with age-defying Keratin complex, an antioxidant-rich energy complex that's made from a signature blend of green tea, ginseng, and vitamin B, this redefining complex miracle is makeup you can feel good about. Packed with good for your skin nutrients, this medium to full coverage foundation and concealer helps fight against environmental stressors, as well as the skin damaging effects caused by exposure to daily high energy visible blue light. Choose your perfect match from 100 vegan-friendly shades consisting of cool pink, neutral, and warm gold undertones. They seamlessly blend onto the skin for an airbrushed-looking glow that's universally flattering. Help conceal blemishes, dark spots, and imperfections with the targeted built-in doe foot applicator, or achieve buildable all-over coverage with a convenient traditional pump. Go ahead and snap your best selfie. We've got you covered for a finish that's so flawless-looking you'll skip the filters. Okay, so that was kind of a lot. I wish I'd kind of just break down the claims a little bit better. Actually, let me check the ULTA website just real quick to see what they have to say. Okay, ULTA basically says like the same thing except for without the like dramatic several paragraphs, but basically it's supposed to be medium to full coverage. Again, I kind of talked about that. I don't know, I wouldn't at first impressions call it full coverage. Maybe if I use a little bit more upon first application, it'd be a lot more full coverage. Definitely medium coverage in my opinion on first impressions. It says mask blemishes and imperfections, leaving behind a natural skin-like finish. Okay, so I'm guessing because it doesn't say anything about matte or dewy, although the one part did say kind of like a dewy, flawless. Let me go back to it. Oh, it was airbrush looking glow that's universally flattering. So a glow. So it doesn't say dewy, doesn't say matte, it definitely says a natural skin-like finish. And that's exactly, I'm so glad that I did my first impressions before reading this, because I didn't want to have any ideas in my head beforehand, and that's exactly what it felt like. I couldn't explain it like matte or dewy, it just felt natural. It just feels skin-like, and it looks skin-like, it looks natural. So I totally agree with that. I totally agree with it saying it's kind of like an airbrush finish. It just looks really, really good. And just a healthier looking complexion. There's no real other like claims on what this foundation is supposed to like look like. It's more about being the benefits of the skincare and things like that, and that I can't really attest to until using it for a longer period of time. But I will say that I do absolutely appreciate products that are made, especially foundation, with good skincare ingredients. So, you know, I appreciate that. I love products that are going to be helping your skin improve over time, or preventing, you know, damaging things like free radicals and stuff like that. So I really love that about it. But so not a ton of other claims about how it's supposed to look and feel, but I can definitely agree that it is very lightweight, that it looks very natural, and first impressions, I feel like I want to say I'm already in love. I love this foundation. I really like the way it looks, but this is the very first time using it, and I haven't had it on for very long. Right now it's 1:48. I'm pretty sure I started filming at like around 1 o'clock, or maybe a little after 12:30, so I've only had it on for less than an hour. Yeah, I don't know what else to say except for I'm really, really happy with this foundation, and I am so excited to keep playing with it and update you guys in a future beauty rewind video. Or if you guys really want to see, I can do a dedicated updated review. You guys let me know, but most likely it'll be in a future beauty rewind video. So with all that being said, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a check-in or if I will have time to do a check-in. If I can manage to do a check-in, I'll insert it here. Alright, so I'm checking in. I'm in my bathroom right in front of our window. It's one of the places I could get the best natural lighting footage. It's almost 5, so it's really only been just a little bit more than 3 hours since I applied the rest of my makeup at least, you know, my bronzer, powder, blush, and all that. So I know that's not a lot of time gone by, but I'm not sure if I will be able to do another check-in later on. I really hope I will, but if I can't, I want to be able to at least do this one. But I have eaten since I stopped filming. I did do this eye look, and was just working on editing some videos and things like that, so I figured I would check in, and so far everything is still looking absolutely beautiful. I am so impressed with this foundation and the wear and the way it looks, and like I said, it's only been a few hours since I applied, but I love the way it looks. I feel so confident in this. My skin looks so natural. It feels really good. There is a little tiny bit of flaking around some of the blemishes on my chin, but that is not the foundation. That is because I have a bad habit of picking at my blemishes and pimples and things like that when I'm working or like concentrating. I don't think I realize it, but I go up and start picking at my skin. So if it looks a little bit dry and flaky around that is my fault for picking at my face and stuff, and my chin mostly. But other than that, like, it looks beautiful, and I'm really excited to see how it wears further on into the day, but I'm guessing that it's going to wear beautifully. And I just realized that this foundation didn't really have any claims on how long it's supposed to wear. There was really no time frame or time limit or time whatever claims, which is probably kind of smart on PUR Cosmetics to do, because so many people or so many brands make claims on this is 24 hours, it's 15 hours, it's such and such hours, and a lot of people debunk those claims. So it's probably smart that PUR Cosmetics didn't put a time frame on this foundation, but I would say as long as it wears at least 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours, which is most people's, like, you know, normal hour work day, I think that it would be fine or be good. But so far, about 3.5 hours in, it's looking amazing still. All right, I'm back for a quick check-in because it is 7:46. And this is probably the latest I'll be able to do a natural light check-in, so we're just going to end it here. But everything is looking really great. I'm not getting any creasing whatsoever in my smile lines, which I wanted to note because usually almost every single foundation I wear does kind of crease there by the end of the day. Not terribly, not bad. It's usually something I just expect, but there's a little bit of creasing with most other foundations. This one has yet to crease on me in my smile lines, which is really amazing and just worth noting. But again, I didn't really wear it very long today. For me personally, this is about a normal wear length of time for me, but I know for a lot of other people about 6 hours or 7 about is what I've been wearing this, is not like super long, but for me I feel like this is a normal wear length for me, and I'm just so impressed. It looks so good, and I'm really happy with it. But again, I will have to update after wearing this longer and testing it longer and give a full review later on. This is just my first impressions, but so far loving this foundation so much. That's everything that I have to say about this foundation. I would love to know what you guys think, what you guys thought. Have you tried this foundation? If you have, share your opinions and thoughts of it in the comment section so we can all kind of learn from each other and help each other out. Did you like this foundation? Did you not like this foundation? Have you been considering buying this foundation? I'd love to know your thoughts after seeing it action on me. And do you agree, disagree with anything I thought or felt with this first impression? Again, I would love to hear from you. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. Mwah!